When we think about building product at Urban, we like to have a balance between, on one hand, being able to be agile, to be able to respond to new issues and problems as they arise, but on the other hand, be able to focus a lot of our time on big features that are really going to be able to move the needle on our company objectives. And one of the ways that we keep this focus on these big objectives is through our half-yearly roadmap. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through the strategy for the roadmap for the second half of this year, and then just talk you through some of the features that we're going to be aiming to deliver over the next 6 months. I'll leave the timestamps here so you can jump around a bit if you want, but let's get into it. Now, when thinking about a product roadmap, probably the first question that you want to ask yourself is, what are we actually trying to achieve with all of the work and all the new features that we might want to be launching on the app? And that's why it's important for us to have an overall objective for the product team moving into the second half of this year. And the objective for us over this next 6 months, or the main objective, is to increase our practitioner availability. Now, this is really important to us because increasing the availability of practitioners means that we get more bookings on the platform, which means more practitioners are encouraged onto the platform because there's more demand from clients. And it just creates this virtuous cycle which really helps Urban to expand as a company and ultimately to provide wellness to a far larger proportion of the population. So we have our problem of wanting to increase practitioner availability, but how do we go around solving it? Well, one way to think about it is to have a kind of glass jar like this. And what you're trying to do with the glass jar is to fill it up in the most efficient way possible. So to start with, you're going to start by adding large pieces of fruit, let's say an orange. So you put 1, 2, 3 pieces of fruit in, and these would be the 3 big features that we want to deliver over the next 6 months. Now, there's not enough room for any more oranges in here, but there is room for some blueberries. So what we're going to do is have these represent the smaller features and just pop those into the gaps in between the oranges. And what this jar of oranges and blueberries represents is the oranges being the big tasks that want to take about 80% of our focus, what we really want to kind of hone in on and make sure that we deliver. And the blueberries are the smaller things that if we have time, when we're not sort of eating the oranges as it were, we can kind of snack on them and still deliver some value through working on these smaller tasks. Okay, basketing backend. Now, this is the hardest of the features to wrap your head around, so bear with me here. And the reason that backend features are hard to wrap our head around is because it's not something you physically can see on the app or the website. It's something that lays underneath it. So you can almost imagine it like an engine underneath the bodywork of a car. You can make changes to the engine, but unless you lift up the hood, you're not going to be able to see what changes have been made. Now, when we talk about basketing backend as a problem that we're trying to solve, what we're saying is that when we built the app originally and the website, we stored information about the basket and about the orders in 3 different places. We had it on the app, we had it on the website, and we also had it on the back end. And while this sort of suited the purpose for a period of time while Urban was starting out, it's now becoming quite limiting. If we want to, for example, be able to combine different products in a basket and then offer the customers a discount, say they book a massage and a nails treatment and we want to give them 20% off, that's very difficult with the current way that our basketing works. Similarly, if we want to upsell customers certain products, like for example, a cream that they might be able to use after their facial, this is very, very difficult with the basketing backend that we currently have. And fundamentally, it also blocks request to book, which is one of the features that we're going to talk about a bit later, and which is one of our kind of big objectives for H2. So all of these different reasons have basically forced us to completely reconsider how we deal with basketing and orders on the Urban platform. And that's why we're moving everything completely to the back end. So the apps will no longer carry any logic, neither will the websites. Well, that's not technically true, but it's all going to be centralized in the back end. And then they're just going to be requesting information from the back end from this one source of truth, which is going to make it really easy for us to add new features into our order system in the future. Now, this involves a lot of work. We're going to have to completely rewrite the order system on the apps because they're now going to be pulling information from the back end rather than storing it themselves. The same with the website, and obviously the back end itself is going to have to be completely rewritten as well. So this is a lot of work that you're unfortunately not going to see as a client or a practitioner, but trust me, it's very valuable and it's going to be able to unlock a lot of things further down the line. Now, one immediate thing that the basketing backend work unlocks is a feature for one of our most important customers, and that's our customer support team. At the moment, the way that customer support works is they have a separate admin panel for when they're creating or modifying orders. And again, this was built years and years ago, and it's getting a bit clunky. Perhaps that's the understatement of the century. It's missing some really important functionality and really isn't completely fit for purpose for customer support anymore. So what we're going to do is take this back-end functionality that we've made for basketing and orders, and by using that, create a front-end flow for customer service, which will allow them to create orders in exactly the same way that a customer on the app would. Now, obviously, they're going to have some slightly more advanced functionality. They're going to be able to change the times more easier. They're going to be able to combine items together in a slightly different way. But generally, we're trying to move away from the idea of having a separate admin panel for customer support and a separate booking experience for our clients. What we want to do is bring those two together and then only have to build features on one of the platforms rather than two. And over time, this is going to save us a lot of engineering work, but it's also going to make customer support's life a lot easier because they're going to be able to do functions that they can't do at the moment, such as combining items together in a basket, which at the moment is just a complete mess for them. Request to Book is one of the prize features of our roadmap for H2, and we think it's going to have a huge impact for practitioners and clients alike. I'm not going to go into the detail of Request to Book in this video because I've actually made a whole video on it, which I'll link here, and that's going to talk you through the thought process behind it, the problem that we're trying to solve, and also a demo of what Request to Book is going to look like. So check that out after this video, and I'm sure it's going to be very valuable for you. So those are our three big pieces of fruit. Those are the three oranges, which is the basketing backend, the customer support booking flow, and Request to Book. Now let's take a look at the smaller tasks, so the little blueberries in the jar, and how they're gonna sort of be a backlog for our roadmap moving into this next 6 months of work. Now, I should stress that whereas the first three big features that we discussed are something that we really want to deliver in H2, and we're going to make it a priority to make sure they're out in the next 6 months, these next features are more things that are going to be pulled in when we have the time and when we're not working on the bigger tasks. So they might not necessarily get done in H2, but they're there for us if, for example, one of our engineers is blocked by another engineer, or we have a spare pair of hands, or there's some mismatch between our back end and front end and we have time to dedicate to a certain feature. So yeah, these are going to be things that will be pulled in when we have time, but aren't necessarily planned to be done in H2 per se, because our main focus needs to be on delivering the big features that we just talked about. One of the biggest features of last year was membership. Membership allowed customers to engage more regularly with Urban and receive more treatments by offering them a discount if they committed to a monthly plan. And it's really a win-win for both sides of our marketplaces because our customers get to experience our services more often for a better price, and our practitioners get more bookings because our customers are booking more regularly. Now, when we first launched the membership feature, we were very cautious in the launch of it. We wanted to make sure that we got every detail of it right, that we got the pricing right, that we got the value proposition right, that we got the communication of the service right. And as a result of that, we only launched it to a few select customers. We're now in a position where we feel like membership is working really well, and we're ready to launch it to our wider community of customers. And that's why one of the priorities for us moving into H2 is actually just to make membership available to everyone. So at logical points in the app, our clients will be able to log in, see their membership options, be able to purchase that, and then go ahead with it. So yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to be working on for H2, hopefully, if we get time to pull it in. Adding service areas is something every practitioner goes through at some point, with some of our practitioners even having multiple templates for different times of day or different locations that they may be in, and constantly fiddling around with the different service areas that they want to serve. Now, unfortunately, the user experience for adding service areas isn't quite where we want it to be. If you select a service area, sometimes it's not clear if it's selected, and if you deselect it, it's not clear as well. It's also not completely clear what the demand is. We have sort of different tiers of demand from low to medium to high, and if you have the service area selected, you can't often make out exactly what the demand in those areas is. So one of the focuses that we want to have for H2 is to just make these service areas incredibly easy to use. So when you go in and you add a service area, you know, okay, that service area has been added. If you want to remove it, it's just, again, crystal clear, because it's something that our practitioners interact with so often. And the penalty for having wrong service areas can often be pretty severe, because you might end up getting booked in, East London when you're working in West, and then you've got an hour and a half commute on your hand. So it's really important that we get this feature right. We don't have any clear-cut designs for it yet. I'll leave a few examples of things that we're working with here, but this will be something that is a real focus for us for H2. Treatment reports are a great way for practitioners to add real value to the client's booking experience. And practitioners who leave treatment reports, they get more rebooks. They also get higher ratings. So it's something that we really want to encourage our practitioners to do more of. Now, currently not that many percentage of practitioners are actually leaving treatment reports, even if the client is opted in to receive them. One of the reasons for this is communication, which kind of falls outside of the product responsibility for now. But one thing that we definitely can improve is the experience of giving a treatment report to a client. For some services, we don't have the exact best options of follow-up treatments or care that you might have given. And some treatments, we really don't have any functionality for treatment reports at all. So one of the things that we're going to try and do is add in more functionality so that you can easily give treatment reports to your clients, and also have a look at tweaking the UX just so we can make it that much quicker and that much easier for practitioners to go ahead and leave a treatment report after every possible session. So thanks a lot for sticking around to the end of that video. Hopefully that's given you some visibility on what our core objective is for the second half of this year, which is increasing our practitioner availability. Hopefully it's also given you some insight into our strategy when it comes to product development, from taking these big tasks and really focusing on delivering them over the next 6 months, and then pulling in these smaller tasks when we can. And hopefully you've also got a bit of insight into what we're actually going to be doing over the next 6 months. So something for you to get excited about. If you have any questions on anything that's been discussed in this video, you can either email me, I'll leave an email in the description below, or you can go to the forum and write a post there and I'll get back to you. But thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of your day.